In this village, there is a terrifying tradition. Whenever someone dies, the villagers place the body by the roadside. Before long, a stone pillar will begin to grow from the deceased's body. Legend has it that as long as the pillar successfully turns into a tombstone, the deceased can be reincarnated. But if the pillar does not transform, horrible things will happen in the village. As more villagers die, these stone pillars will eventually fill every corner of the village. One day, a brother and sister drove to the village to visit a friend. But along the way, they got lost in the forest. Yoshikawa, focused on the map, didn't notice a girl ahead. It wasn't until he realized the car had hit her. In a panic, Yoshikawa decided to hide the girl's body in the trunk, and drove to the mountains to dispose of her body. However, when they entered the village, they saw a tombstone suddenly rise in the middle of the road. Soon after, more tombstones appeared, completely blocking the way. The siblings had no choice but to reverse. Just then, the villagers walked over, saw the tombstone they had hit, and immediately warned them to set the tombstone upright, or else they would be cursed. The villagers explained that these tombstones were built for the deceased. At that moment, the siblings' friend Koizumi appeared, and explained the strange customs of the village. In this place, all the deceased's bodies must remain where they died, and cannot be moved, otherwise, the deceased will not attain enlightenment. Yoshikawa and his sister's doubts were not resolved. That evening, another woman from the village went missing, and her anxious family immediately called the police. The siblings joined the search party, and eventually discovered that her body might have fallen into an ancient well in the village. The well was said to have been used for the bodies that could not attain enlightenment. As their investigation deepened, they uncovered a terrifying secret hidden in the village. At the hospital, the siblings saw a dead person with a tombstone growing from their body. The doctor warned them not to touch the tombstone until it was fully formed. Yoshikawa and his sister began to realize that everything in the village. Soon after, the siblings discovered that their friend Koizumi had secretly been searching for the body in their car. He told them that the police had started tracking the traces of the accident. Suddenly, Yoshikawa saw Koizumi noticing bloodstains in the car, and realized that things were becoming more complicated, beginning to suspect that the police were now watching them. To avoid suspicion, the siblings decided to throw the body into the ancient well. When they opened the trunk, a foul odor hit them, and the girl's body had already started petrifying, becoming terrifying. Fear and pain made it hard to breathe. Just as they were about to throw the body into the well, strange sounds suddenly came from the bottom of the well, and the body began crawling out of it. At that moment, Yoshikawa woke up, realizing that everything had been a nightmare. The next day, Koizumi found the sister's bracelet by the well, and suddenly realized the truth. Soon after, a family of 3 left a suicide note and took their own lives. Meanwhile, Yoshikawa hid in his bed, racked with pain. The hand that had been injured by the dead body was now starting to grow rocks. His body was being covered with stone, and the pain made his consciousness blur. Meanwhile, in another place, Leanie's half-face had been scraped off by a billboard, but surprisingly, she didn't become disfigured. Instead, new skin began to grow back on her face. After an examination, the doctor discovered that Leanie's body was actually made of layers of skin, with no organs or bones, just like layers of cake stacked on top of each other. Each layer represented a different stage of Leanie's age, so she hadn't grown new skin, but her body had always been made of skin. When her mother heard this, she collapsed in fear, crying out how her daughter could have turned into this. But soon, she calmed down, and began asking the doctor if Leanie still retained her childhood appearance. The doctor confirmed, and the mother was overjoyed, immediately deciding to discharge Leanie, as if she had a terrifying plan in mind. However, Leanie's sister disagreed with their mother's decision, believing that her sister's multi-layered skin structure was a curse, and showing her teeth, she began recounting how it all started. In 1996, their father, during geological exploration, discovered a pile of dirt shaped like a human form, with a skull buried at the deepest part. He speculated that this could be part of some ancient burial ritual, where the body was wrapped in clay layer by layer. So, he brought the skull home, and began studying it. Soon after, their father's health deteriorated rapidly, and a few years later, he mysteriously died, and the curse followed the sisters. After hearing her sister's explanation, the mother broke into a cold sweat, but she still refused the doctor's suggestion for observation, and that night, she had Leanie discharged. Her urgency was simple, because family photos showed that Leanie had once been a very famous child star, and the mother seemed to have an obsession with that time she couldn't let go. At night, the mother quietly entered Leanie's room, calling her childhood name repeatedly, but no matter how she called, Leanie did not respond. Just as the mother was about to leave in disappointment, a sound came from within Leanie's body, and Leanie's voice excited her mother, telling her to let her out. Confused, the mother's hand involuntarily reached into Leanie's skin, and suddenly, a terrifying thought crossed her mind. As her fingers dug deeper, she peeled off Leanie's face skin, but the pain made Leanie scream. Hearing the sound, the sister came in to check, finding the mother cutting her sister's skin, and Leanie had fainted from the pain. At that moment, the voice came again, and the sister was too scared to speak, but the mother became even more excited, furiously tearing at Leanie's skin. Her face was like being unwrapped, until finally, the 2-year-old Leanie was fully exposed. When the mother saw her daughter at age 2 again, she was so moved that tears filled her eyes, and called the sister to help, wanting to peel off Leanie's 2-year-old body as well. So, the sister joined in this crazy skin peeling process, tearing at her sister's body with the mother. However, as they continued to tear, the mother's expression became strange, because although Leanie's face looked like her childhood, her body had been stretched to an abnormal length, becoming eerily distorted. Seeing this, the mother sighed deeply, then took a knife to cut her own face. Since her daughter couldn't return to the past, she would peel off her own 38-year-old face and start again. But what the mother didn't expect was that the curse did not fall upon her. After peeling her face, what was revealed was horrifying muscle tissue. In the end, the mother's face was completely destroyed, and she spent her days curled up in a corner, silent. And because of the mother's selfishness, Leanie became a monster who was neither human nor ghost. The sister, watching all of this, was filled with helplessness.